So somebody sent me a video that's been going around social media and asked me to address it. It's about alleged discrepancies on Captain Richard Flaherty's story that they say I never addressed, which I have. So the person, first of all, they got my name wrong. The person talking about me, they're saying Officer Music. My name's Officer Usick with a Y, not Music. That's number one. Number two, they say they were a former government employee and that they got a hold of the medical examiner records for Richard Flaherty when he was killed in the hit and run. And these are things that I didn't mention. One, that Richard had a high blood alcohol content on the night that he was killed. I've mentioned that before, and there's no mystery there. Richard was a functioning alcoholic. He medicated himself for his PTSD with alcohol, but a functioning alcoholic walks around with a high blood alcohol content, and they basically, it's they're not really impaired. So that's number one. Number two, that didn't affect any of the facts of the case that night. The case is Richard in the middle of the night crosses the street using the crosswalk. He's already 25 feet into the street when he gets struck by a car coming in a straight direction. Doesn't matter whether he's drunk or not. He's in the crosswalk. Richard didn't run. There's no one, even the sergeant talked about that in the case. He didn't dart out into the street and get hit. Richard, at 69 years old, wasn't a runner. He walked with a big backpack on his back, maybe about 50 pounds. So there was no fault on Richard, whether he had a high blood alcohol content or not. That has no factor in the case. The woman that ran him over and killed him, she should have been held criminally liable. That's number one. Number two, they said that the medical examiner report actually reveals Richard wasn't 4'9", that he was really only 4'7". Now, I've talked about this before, and people say, well, why do you say he's 4'9"? Well, all his military paperwork lists him as 4'9". When I saw the medical examiner's report and it said he was 4'7", yeah, I thought it was a mistake, a typo. I called the medical examiner and I asked him about it, and he said no. Richard was 4'7" at the time of his death. So I asked him, well, people shrink as they get older. Do you think he lost 2 inches? And he said absolutely not. Based on the disc height from Richard's neck all down to his lumbar region, the cartilage in his knees, he had pretty good cartilage and a pretty good distance in his discs. So he doesn't think his best guess was Richard was never any taller than 4'8". And then, he shrunk an inch at the end of his life. So that's not a discrepancy. That would actually make my friend's story even more amazing, that he wasn't 4'9", he was only 4'7" or 4'8". I say it because when people look up the documentation, which is out there on the internet, it lists him at 4'9". All the newspaper articles list him at 4'9". So if you want to say my friend was 4'7", 4'8", that just makes him more of a legend, and what he did even more incredible by making it through the military, being a platoon leader with the 101st Airborne Recon Unit, and then becoming a Green Beret captain, and earning the Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars with Valor, and 2 Purple Hearts. So if you want to learn more about my friend, your videos don't bother me. You can check it out, The Giant Killer. It's a book, audio book. Documentary, award-winning documentary. It's available worldwide. Amazon, Spotify, Tubi, Vudu, Roku, YouTube, iTunes. It's basically everywhere. And some of the places, if you want to watch documentary, are free. I know the ebook is free if you're an Amazon Prime member. So check it out, and thanks, guys.